Hello students, today we will discuss about kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi is a unique kingdom of a heterotrophic organism and they are cosmopolitan. They are found each and everywhere of the world. Okay, and they grow in warm and humid places. For example, here you can see this is a bread mold. Okay, this is the orange rot here you can see. Okay, so this is all due to fungus. This is a mushroom. Okay, and this is a toadstool here you can see. Okay, this is a toxic mushroom, but it is also one type of a fungi. White spots on a mustard leaves are due to parasitic fungi. Okay, here you can see this is the leaves of a mustard leaf. Okay, and they have a white spot on it, and that is a parasitic fungus. Some fungi are the source of antibiotic, for example, Penicillium. Okay, so this is the Penicillium and that is responsible for production of antibiotic penicillin. Okay, and that is a penicillin antibiotic. Some unicellular fungi, here you can see yeast. Okay, this is the yeast which is a unicellular organism and are used for the bread making and beer making. Okay, so here you can see the photograph or a microscopic view of the yeast cell. They are unicellular cells and responsible for bread making and beer industries. Okay, and other fungi may cause disease in plants and even in the animals. So here you can see the example. Here you can observe Puccinia fungi and that is responsible for causing wheat rust and it is responsible for causing disease in wheat plants. Except yeast, fungi are a filamentous. Here you can see the filaments, okay, but it is not present in the yeast. So yeast is do not having any type of filament. So except yeast, fungi are a filamentous. Their bodies consist of long, slender thread-like structure and that is called hyphae. So these all structure which is called hyphae. Okay, so their body consists of long, slender thread-like structure. Here you can see thread-like structure and that is called hyphae. Okay, and the network of a hyphae is known as a mycelium. So all these hyphae together form network. Okay, and that is called mycelium. So hyphae may be of two kind. Here you can see the both of kinds. Okay, so one type of a hyphae is a cenocytic hyphae. Okay, they are continuous tube filled with the multinucleated cytoplasm. Here you can see septum is not present. Okay, this is a cenocytic hyphae and here you can observe septa is not present. As a result of that, all nucleus will have filled inside the tube. Okay, so they are continuous tubes because absence of this type of septum, and they are continuous tubes filled with the multinucleated cytoplasm. So here you will observe multinucleated cells. Okay, and this one is the septate hyphae. Here you can observe. So here you can see the disc-like structure that is called septum. Okay, which will differentiate between two segments. Okay, and this is why it is called septate hyphae because of presence of a septum. So septate hyphae, they have septa or a cross walls. Here you can see the cross walls. Okay, and fungal cell wall is made up of chitin. This is the content by using which cell wall is made up of this type of chitin. Okay, that is one kind of a polysaccharide. So fungal cell wall is made up of chitin. This chitin cell wall is only present in the fungus and that's why it is also called fungal cellulose. So chitin is also considered as a fungal cellulose and it is one kind of a polysaccharide. So fungal cell wall is made up of chitin and polysaccharide. Here you can see the fungal cell wall. Okay, or a fungal cellulose. It is made up of fungal cellulose. Okay, and that is a chitin. Here you can see the structure. This is the presence of a chitin. This pinkish color region is indicating the chitin. Most fungi are a saprophyte. That means they will absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates. Okay, so saprophytes are the organism which will absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates. Okay, so most of them are saprophytes. Some are parasites. Okay, and some live as a symbiote. And the example for a symbiont is a lichen, that is a combination between fungi and algae. Okay, then mycorrhiza, that is a combination between fungi and roots of higher plants. Okay, so they will live as a symbionts. So some are a saprophytes, some are parasites, and some may be symbionts. So now let me discuss about reproduction in a fungi. So reproduction means you can see here three means are there. Three types of reproduction you will observe here. First is a vegetative propagation, that is a fragmentation, fission and the budding. Okay, that is called vegetative propagation in case of a fungi. Okay, they will show you fragmentation, fission, and the budding. Second type is asexual reproduction, that is by asexual spores. So here you will observe three kind of spores: conidia, sporangiospores, and zoospores. Okay, and finally sexual reproduction also shown in by this type of organism, and that is by the sexual spores. So that will include oospore, ascospores, and basidiospores. So now we will discuss one by one in detail. First method of reproduction is a vegetative propagation, and that is by fragmentation, fission, and the budding. So you can see here this is the fragmentation. Suppose this is a hyphae or a mycelium of a fungi. We break it out from here. Okay, it will convert into two pieces here, and these now all individual pieces will now act as an individual organism, and such a method of reproduction is called fragmentation. Okay, and next is a fission. Here you can see this is the mother cell. Okay, it will divide into two. Okay, two equal, so that is called fission in a yeast. Okay, and if it divide unequally, here you can see this is the mother cell. One cell will be larger and one cell will be smaller. So you will see here it is not like this. Okay, in fission what will happen? Here two equal size cell will be the result. Okay, that's why it is called fission, or a binary fission we can say. But here what happen in the budding type of a yeast? Here what happen? One cell will be larger and one will be smaller. Newer one will be smaller. Okay, and such a thing is called budding in the yeast. Such a method is called budding in the yeast. Here in this diagram you can clearly see, okay, the cell which is mother cell is larger and the cell which is newly developed is a smaller sized. Okay, and such a condition is called budding in the yeast. That is also one kind of a reproductive method, and that is called vegetative propagation. Next method of reproduction is asexual reproduction. Okay, for asexual reproduction, fungi will form some spores. Okay, these spores may be of three kinds: conidia, sporangiospores, and zoospores. So first of all, let me understand what is a conidia. So here you can observe these fungal hyphae will be of two kinds. Okay, so surface, and this is the aerial one. Okay, so these aerial hyphae will form some conidiophore. Okay, on this conidiophore you will observe some conidia which is formed, and that is one kind of asexual spores. Okay, so on germination this spore will now form individual organism of a fungi. Okay, so this is the mean of a reproduction in some fungi, that is a conidia. Second type of spores is the sporangiospores. Okay, so here you can see this is the sporangia which will have a sporangiospores. So now this sporangia will be burst. Okay, and on bursting of a sporangia, it will release the spores. Okay, and the spores, after releasing the spores, it will grow into the hyphae and it will act as an individual organism. So by this way, the spore is responsible for asexual reproduction, and such a spore is called sporangiospores. Third type of spores is a conidiosporangium. This conidiosporangium will be increase in number. Okay, here you can see. Okay, and it will, after that it will be burst. Okay, and it will release some zoospores. And here you can see tail-like structure. And this tail-like structures as a flagella, or they will be motile. So if motile type of spores are there, they will consider as a zoospores. Third method of a reproduction is a sexual reproduction. Okay, it is done with the help of oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. Okay, and they are produced in the distinct structure, and that is called fruiting bodies. So here you can see this is the fruiting body. Okay, in which spore will be generated, and then it will germinate and it will convert into mycelia and it will form new organism. Okay, and sometime this fruiting body is called ascocarp and it will release the ascospores. Okay, and sometime it is also called basidium. This fruiting body is considered as a basidium. They will form basidiospores. So different type of fungi will have different kind of fruiting body. Sexual reproduction will be done in three steps. Okay, so this three step of a sexual cycle is a plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. Okay, so what is a plasmogamy? It is the fusion of a protoplasm of two motile or non-motile gametes. Okay, it is a fusion of a protoplasm of a two motile or non-motile gametes. Okay, and next is a karyogamy stage, and that is a fusion of a nucleus. So plasmogamy is a fusion of a protoplast of a two motile or non-motile gametes, and karyogamy is a fusion of a two nuclei. Okay, and then meiosis will occur, and meiosis in zygote resulting in the haploid spores. Okay, so zygote will now undergo meiosis, and zygote itself is a diploid, and if it undergo meiosis, it will result into haploid cells. So here let me repeat. Okay, suppose this is a haploid cell, and that is the spores. Okay, these spores will convert into hyphae. They will further produce spores and convert into hyphae, and then these haploid spore will now undergo plasmogamy, and that is a fusion of a protoplasm, and due to fusion of a protoplasm, this haploid structure will now become heterokaryotic. Okay, these two nucleus will be found. Okay, now these two nucleus will fuse together, fusion of a nuclei will occur, that is called karyogamy, and as a result of that, now diploid structure, and that is a zygote, will be obtained. Okay, and this zygote will be diploid, and this diploid structure will undergo meiosis process, and as a result of this meiosis process, further this diploid cells will convert into haploid spores. During sexual reproduction, two haploid hyphae come together and fuse. Okay, so due to this fusion of a two haploid hyphae, what happened due to this fusion of a two haploid cell? Immediately it will result into diploid cell. Okay, so now it will be 2N or a diploid cell because of a fusion of a two haploid hyphae. So here you can see this is a fertilization process. So these hyphae and these hyphae will fuse together, and as a result of that it will fuse and it will become diploid, from haploid to diploid. In ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, a dikaryotic stage. Okay, so here in one single cell you will observe two nucleus, and that is called dikaryotic stage. Okay, and that is also called dikaryophase. That is two nucleus will be found in a single cell or per cell will occur, and such a condition is called dikaryon. So such a situation or such a condition you will observe in case of ascomycete fungi and basidiomycete fungi. Okay, later this parental nuclei fuse and the cell become diploid. So this is the very unique feature of ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. Fungi form fruiting bodies in which reduction division occur. This reductional division is nothing but is one type of a meiosis. Okay, during this fruiting body formation, there are a special kind of a reductional division, that is a meiotic division, will occur, and it will lead to formation of a haploid spores. Okay, so fruiting body undergo reductional division, that is previously diploid in nature. The cells inside that will be diploid in nature, and after the formation of these spores, it will lead to the formation of haploid spores due to the reductional division, that is a meiotic division. Kingdom fungi can be classified into four groups. Here you can see. Okay, based on morphology of a mycelium, this is the basis of a classification of a fungi. That is, firstly, what is considered? First of all, morphology of mycelium is considered. Mode of a spore formation is considered. Secondly, and third one, which is considered as a fruiting bodies. Okay, and based on these all characteristic morphology of mycelium, mode of a spore formation, and fruiting bodies, these fungi can be classified as follows. Okay, so here you can see phycomycetes. First group of fungi is a phycomycetes, then ascomycetes, then basidiomycetes, and deuteromycetes. Okay, so these are the group of fungi, and fungi are broadly classified into four groups: phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes, and deuteromycetes. Okay, which we will learn in detail one by one in next lecture. So this is your homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize whole topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
Common mushrooms, toadstools, and the mold on leftover bread are all examples of fungi. Fungi can be found everywhere: in water, air, soil, plants, and animals. While there are some fungi like Puccinia that can cause diseases like wheat rust in plants, there are also some like Penicillium that provide us with antibiotics. With the exception of yeasts, which are unicellular, fungi are usually filamentous. Fungi consist of long, slender, thread-like structures called hyphae. A network of hyphae is known as mycelium. There are two types of hyphae. The first type is made up of continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm and is called cenocytic hyphae. The second type of hyphae has septae or cross walls. Apart from hyphae, fungi are distinguished by their cell walls, which are made of chitin and polysaccharides. Fungi are heterotrophic. Fungi that absorb organic matter from dead substrates are called saprophytes. Fungi which depend on living plants and animals are called parasites. Some fungi are associated with other organisms in mutually beneficial relationships. For example, fungi associate with algae to form lichens. Other fungi associate with the roots of plants as Mycorrhiza. In both lichens and Mycorrhiza, the relationship shared by fungi with the algae and the plant is called symbiosis. Fungi can reproduce vegetatively, asexually, as well as sexually. Fungi reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation, fission, and budding. They can reproduce asexually by either one of the following spores: conidia, zoospores, or sporangiospores. They also reproduce sexually by either oospores, ascospores, or basidiospores. All these spores are produced in structures called fruiting bodies. There are 3 steps in the sexual cycle: plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. The first stage involves the fusion of protoplasms between 2 motile or non-motile gametes. This is called plasmogamy. Plasmogamy occurs when 2 haploid hyphae of compatible mating types fuse. After plasmogamy, the 2 nuclei fuse together in the second stage known as karyogamy. Whereas in some fungi, the fusion of 2 haploid cells immediately results in the formation of diploid cells, or 2N. In other fungi, like ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, an intervening dikaryotic stage occurs. This condition of 2 nuclei per cell is called dikaryon, and the phase is called dikaryophase. Later, the parental nuclei fuse to make a diploid cell. The third stage involves reduction division, that is, meiosis, to form haploid spores. Meiosis occurs in the fruiting bodies of fungi. Together, the fruiting bodies, the mode of spore formation, and the morphology of the mycelium form the basis of the division of the kingdom fungi into various classes. There are 4 main classes of fungi: phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes, and deuteromycetes.
In next lecture, we will learn about kingdom fungi classification. Okay, so till that, goodbye.